MCTV, are we ready to go? Okay, great. Welcome everyone to the special Millbrae Planning Commission meeting of October 14th, 2024. Staff, can we do a roll call, please?
Commissioner Quigg?
Yes.
Vice Chair Davis? Chair Chan?
Here.
3 planning commissioners are present. Commissioners Choi and Wong are excused.
If you're able, please stand with me to recite the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay. Next item on the agenda is the land acknowledgement, which, especially on a day like today, I'd like to read in full. The Millbrae Planning Commission acknowledges that we occupy the unceded, ancestral, traditional, and contemporary homeland of the Ramaytush Ohlone peoples, who are the original inhabitants of the San Francisco Peninsula. We wish to pay our respects to the ancestors and relatives of the Ramaytush community and to affirm their sovereign rights as First Peoples. We recognize that the Ramaytush have lived in harmony with nature for millennia, and that to achieve a truly ecologically sustainable future for Millbrae, we must embrace indigenous, traditional, ecological knowledge in how we care for the city's lands, waters, and all its people. We will continue to uplift and foster a meaningful relationship with the Ramaytush Ohlone community, and we encourage all to visit www.ramaytush.org to learn more about the Ramaytush Ohlone people. Next up is the agenda review. There's no last minute agenda changes necessary, right? Okay. All right, then moving on to the approval of minutes, we have the regular meeting minutes of August 19th, 2024. Are there any motions or comments about the minutes?
Second.
All right, there's a motion and a second. Staff, could you please call the vote?
Commissioner Quigg? Vice Chair Davis?
Yes.
Chair Chan?
Yes.
Thank you. Motion passes 3-0.
All right, next item on the agenda is public communication. So this is the opportunity for the public to address the commission on any items that are not on tonight's agenda, but are nonetheless the purview of the Planning Commission. Staff, do we have any speaker slips or Zoom hands raised?
We do not have any speaker slips or Zoom hands raised.
Okay, great. Moving on to the public hearing, item 4A. We have an item for 210 Adrian Road, hearing to consider design review, conditional use permit, and exemption applications for a master sign program at 210 Adrian Road. Staff, do you have a presentation on the project?
Yes, we do. Commissioners, good evening. Ross Camado, Planning Manager. I'll be presenting this item for you this evening. This item is a public hearing on a master sign program for 210 Adrian Road. This is also known as the Longfellow Project. By virtue of background, on May 16, 2022, the Planning Commission approved the construction of a 263,000 square foot life sciences building in the TOD zone of the Millbrae Station Area Specific Plan. And after that, the applicant submitted a master sign program for future tenant signage on the building for the municipal code. Here is the location, just to refresh your memory. You probably all know where this is located, but it is just south of Millbrae Avenue, adjacent to the Alexandria Life Sciences campus and just east of the railroad tracks. So the project proposes 3 skyline tenant signage. As you'll see here are the locations. There's one on the northeast corner facing the east, And then there'll be two on the southwest corner, one facing the west and one facing the south, so that as you are northbound on the train or in El Camino, you'll be able to see both signs on the building. And so here are the elevation views of the proposed signage. This is Harriet Tubman Way. This is facing the east. There's one skyline signage in orange or yellow on the upper right corner of the building, and then on the ground floor, there's a project tenant signage that will identify the project site. And the project signage on the skyline also includes halo lit dimmable lighting, which is going to create this halo effect. And you can see here, this is a night view that shows the that halo effect of that backlit lighting around signage. It's very soft and it's very elegant. So we definitely appreciate the applicants working with the city on that. This is the Elevate Way, or the elevation facing the railroad tracks. As you can see here, the signage is going to be upper right corner of the building, and just around that is the green screen. It's proposed as part of the building. There's going to be greenery around that signage. And as far as the ground floor signage, we'll go over a few of the proposed signage on the ground floor. Here's a rendering that shows the project signage on the bottom. Here's two signage. One is the monument sign that shows the tenants of the building, and then the project signage again on the right. Also, there will be vehicular directional signage that shows where vehicles are supposed to turn, the parking garage, bike storage, and just kind of directional signage showing where the lobby will be located and the cafe that's proposed on the ground floor. Here is the cafe signage as proposed. And then also for the parking garage, this is the parking identification signage showing a projecting sign and then also wall signs for the parking. The proposed master sign program includes several materials: stainless steel, architectural glass, painted aluminum, painted steel, as you can see here. And there's a palette for future wayfinding signage. You can see on the top, blue, gray, black, and red that are optional, and then also fonts that will be used in any future signage as well. There are two, there's a conditional use permit that's required as part of the project. And this is really because the code requires projects that have freestanding signs larger than 8 square feet or 4 feet high obtain a conditional use permit. And it's just so that the freestanding signage isn't too bulky and too out of scale with the area that it's in. This is a big campus, a large site. So this proposed monument signage is 26 square feet, a little over 26.75 square feet exactly. But we don't feel that it's out of scale at all because of the building height, and this large site is suitable for this area. In addition, there's an exception required for maximum signage on the south. As you can see here, the south elevation is contains skyline signage and also the parking signage. Technically, the way that the code is structured, the amount of signage here would be 134 square feet. And we have here 267, but we don't believe that's in excess of or excessively too much signage in this elevation because there's no signage on the north. So in a way, this is kind of making up for that. So in terms of maximum signage, we feel that this is very much in scale and appropriate for the site. So in sum, staff recommends the Planning Commission review the master sign program, consider the public testimony and the findings, and consider a resolution adopting the design review permit, exception and conditional use permit applications for the master sign program at 210 Adrian Road, subject to the conditions of approval and attachment 1, Exhibit A, and staff's available for any questions. The applicant is here as well. If you have any questions for them.
Thank you, Roscoe. Commissioners, any questions for staff at this time? Okay, thanks, Roscoe. If the applicant does the applicant wish to come forward and say anything regarding the sign program at all? Do you have questions? I actually do have some questions, so if you don't mind. So, yeah, so on the whole, I really appreciate what you're trying to do with this sign program. I especially like that a lot of the ground floor signage is not going to be illuminated. But that does sort of make me raise some questions for me about the skyline signs. I know that in other cities, there's some consideration of dark sky ordinances, and a lot of that language talks about a limitation on the color temperature to 3,000 Kelvin. I saw in your program you wanted the sign to be 4,000 Kelvin, and also there's a lot of these ordinances also talk about shutting off the sign after a certain time of night. So could you maybe fill in some more details for me there on why the need for the extra color temperature? And
it's actually not illumination, it's actually the color. So the lower the number, the bluer the light, the higher the number, the more yellow the light is. It's fully dimmable, so we can actually tone down the illumination, which doesn't really, the Kelvin is actually measuring the color itself, not necessarily how many lumens there are.
okay.
So we just want it to look a little more yellow and not look like it's a fluorescent light.
Okay.
So fluorescent lights are kind of in the 3,000 Kelvin range, and as you get warmer, they get higher, like up to 4,500 Kelvin. It's kind of like these, but more warm, like you find in your home. But the fact that they're 100% dimmable means that we can lower the illumination without changing the color itself to meet any of the sort of future requirements for dark sky. And I think it's already got a built-in timer at all of the panels so that we can turn it off at 11 or turn it off at midnight, or whatever is an appropriate time.
Okay, thanks for providing that information.
Sure.
Any other questions from any other commissioners? Mike? Kathy, Commissioner Quigg, you need to turn the mic on.
You generally keep them on from dusk.
Yeah, from dusk to probably midnight, but it could be lower if required. I think the tenants, of course, would prefer to have more visibility since they
Yeah.
be at night. But Andrew,
I don't think
there's. Yeah.
Well, it's not really affecting a neighborhood per se. It's not necessarily affecting a neighborhood, but it's pretty far up too, so. Oh, I guess the neighbors across the street, but kind of get used to everything.
I think given the fact that there's a lab building in front of it, that's probably going to block a lot of the visibility as you're crossing the bridge. And on the backside, that's got quite a distance because of the railroad and all those other sort of existing conditions. And the fact that it's 6 stories, on the 7th story, because it's really the roof. So it's pretty far up.
Yeah.
And it's hard to see in those renderings, but they're not really huge letters to the
No,
elevation.
you didn't, and it,
We tried to keep it in
I thought they looked
conservative
nice.
scale.
I'm glad it's just the few on top. We don't want them all over.
The one thing to keep in mind too is that the 2 signs that are on the corner, are actually set back from the edge of the building. So unless you're quite a distance away, you're gonna have kind of a limited view of them.
Yeah.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
All right, we don't have to have a motion to open the public hearing, right? Okay, all right, so do we have a motion to open the public hearing?
Open the public hearing.
Oh, for public comment? Do we have,
So, we've always used public comment. The last meeting we had, the city attorney was here and he said, oh no, she said, oh no, it's a public hearing. Whichever word you prefer is what we'd like to open right now.
any objections?
In fact, we never, ever years ago used to open and close the public hearing, so it just did it, so.
All right, well, staff, do we have any, comment slips or Zoom hands?
No comment slips or Zoom hands.
Okay, is there a motion to close the public hearing?
I move.
What did she say?
She moves to close.
Close it in a second.
Okay. Staff, can you do a roll call?
Commissioner Quake? Vice Chair Davis?
Yes.
Chair Chan?
Yes.
Thank you. Motion passes 3-0. Public comment is now closed.
All right, back to you, us commissioners. Any comments? Motions?
I'll make a motion to approve the resolution of the Planning Commission of the City of Millbrae approving a design review, conditional use permit, and exception applications for a master sign program at 210 Adrian Road.
Second.
All right, we have a motion on the floor. Staff, can you call the vote, please?
Commissioner Quake?
Aye.
Vice Chair Davis?
Yes.
Chair Chan?
Yes.
Thank you. Motion passes 3-0.
So the action of the planning commission is considered final pending a 10-day appeal period and the payment of the required appeal fee. If there's anyone, any member of the public who wishes to appeal the decision, please contact the city clerk at 650-259-2414 or by email etran@ci.millbrae.ca.us. That concludes the public hearing. There are no items of new business. Next item is staff updates. Staff?
Thank you, Chair Chan. Just a few updates. There's a planning commissioners training, which is a navigation center tour on Tuesday, October 29th from 5:30 to 6:30 p.m. This is limited to 20 guests, so please register online, and you should have your a flyer for that in your packet. Also, the annual commission committee recognition luncheon is on November 6th at 11:30 a.m. at the Millbrae Recreation Center Great Hall, and do need to RSVP to that by November 1st. And you can RSVP to administration at ci.millbrae.ca.us. And lastly, in terms of upcoming planning commission meetings, we will have, this one is a special meeting because last week's meetings was canceled. The normally scheduled planning commission meeting is the third Monday, which is next Monday. That is still will be held. We have 3 items on that meeting, and then also we will have most likely 2 meetings in November also. So the November 4th meeting will have the Planning Commission study session on the objective design standards that the city is working on. So we'll have that, maybe one other one that we might need to put on there, but we'll limit it to 2 since that one's a big item for the city. And that's all I have for today.
Thank you. Next item is Planning Commissioner announcements. Any announcements from members of the commission?
I don't.
Vice Chair Davis, you always have something.
Oh, there's a meeting.
There is Beats and Brews on Thursday. We can congratulate the Japanese Cultural Committee on a fabulous festival over the weekend. Was it last weekend? 2 weekends ago? It's been since we were here. I'm losing my mind.
We had the candidates forum last week.
Yes, we did. He's already mentioned Election Day, so we're good there. That's it.
All right, I just wanted to acknowledge that today is Indigenous Peoples Day. That's the reason why I felt the need to read the whole land acknowledgement.
Thank you.
And you didn't have a holiday. What happened? I was there and I went to the post office and it was closed. And I thought, wait a minute, I think City Hall's open because I'm having a meeting tonight. So you chose not to be closed for,
Yeah, City Hall is open normal for business today. It's
Yeah.
not a holiday that we observe
anymore.
anymore.
It used to be Columbus Day. But he did bad things, I guess.
We do get Juneteenth off, so maybe they replaced it with that. I don't know.
All right, and with that, we have reached the end of our agenda, so I believe we are adjourned.